Hello and welcome to NJBIZ Conversations. I'm your host, Jeff Kanige. My guest today is Ben LoPiccolo. He is the CEO of Ben LoPiccolo Development Group, or Building Up, as you can see there. It's a real estate investment advisory and consulting firm in Jersey City, and he is president of the Jersey City Apartment Owners Association, an advocacy group. So easy for me to say. Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in Jersey City and around the state, and as far as housing is concerned. But first, I'd like our viewers to get a little bit more about you and your company. If I recall correctly, you started out renovating luxury buildings in New York before crossing over to Jersey City in the late '90s. Can you tell us first how you got into the business, number one, and then second, what prompted the move into Jersey City?
Sure. Like you said, I was renovating apartments in Manhattan in luxury areas like 72nd and Madison, very exclusive apartments, multi-million dollar condominiums.
Okay.
And at the time, I had a desire to invest in real estate. And the entry into real estate investing in Manhattan was just out of my league at the
Oh,
time.
okay. Hmm.
And Jersey City was a place where I can go to invest a little bit of money and just get into the real estate game, right? So I came into Jersey City in 1998. I started by flipping historical homes in a small area called Hamilton Park, Jersey City, which is near the waterfront.
Right.
And then from there, I did a few dozen historic homes, fixed them, flipping them. At the time, house flipping was not really a term,
Hmm.
so it is today. And then I grew that business from house flipping to building new construction, one, two family
Okay.
homes,
Right.
maybe 8 families, 10 families. Today, fast forward, we're building mid-rises, anywhere from 70 units to 100 units.
Okay, interesting. Now, back then, I mean, refresh our memories about what Jersey City was like in 1998 when you moved over. Today, I mean, it seems to be a thriving city that's attracting visitors and people moving out from Manhattan. What was the difference between Manhattan and Jersey City back then? I mean, did you look over at Jersey City and see what was coming down the road? What we would have today?
Sure. I mean, Jersey City back then, quite frankly, I grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey, and Jersey
Okay.
City was not a place you would go to because, New Jersey looked at it as a slum, right? Back then, right?
Right.
And for New Yorkers, a lot of people didn't even know where Jersey City was, right? So when I came into it, there were a lot of areas that were beaten down that needed a lot of work, and I didn't know that Jersey City was a place to invest until somebody came to me and said, "Hey Ben, there's this area in Jersey City. The government is working on a redevelopment plan. You should look into it." And when I first came here, I saw the proximity to New York and how easy it was to access.
Hmm.
And I just saw the opportunity because of the accessibility. If you stood in downtown Jersey City, you looked at the waterfront, it almost appeared that you were in New York.
Hmm. Oh yes,
So,
absolutely. I mean, it's the skylines are very close to each other, and it can feel that way, especially if you, as you say, if you're on the waterfront. So, how's it worked out for you? I'm guessing pretty good.
yeah, absolutely, very good. And like we're saying back then, you could start to see development happening. When I first got here, the waterfront only had two buildings on it, two high-rise buildings, right? And a lot of it was warehouses, dilapidated warehouses, a lot of industrial properties. And over the years, from '98 until now, you could see a very fast progression of development. There's just been, tens of thousands of real estate units coming on the market. So it's just been tremendous growth.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about affordable housing. That's been an issue in this state, in Jersey City, and around the country. I mean, it's not unique to this area. And there's a mayoral race going on in Jersey City. That development is an issue there. From your perspective, I mean, let me get first of all your perspective. Is it difficult to actually supply safe and affordable housing options? And if so, why? What are the obstacles? What makes it difficult to do that?
Well, there's a lot of hurdles that developers have to go through to develop real estate, especially today, right? We have from construction costs to interest rates that are very high right now. That financially makes it very difficult. On top of
Right.
that, we have to deal with governmental hurdles, and it's only gotten worse over the years, right? There's a lot of rhetoric that goes on in politics where developers are painted as the bad guys in a room, where we're the
Right.
ones that are causing things to get more and more expensive. But the reality is that it's become more and more difficult to build, and therefore that difficulty has made the supply shrink, right? And as the supply is shrinking and the demand keeps growing, Jersey City keeps getting more and more expensive. And as a whole, New Jersey is getting more and more expensive.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to get at, because there will be critics who say it's not that difficult. If it's so expensive to build, why are all those high rises going up? But the question is, are they meeting the demand that's there? And that's what I think you're getting to, is the tension between supply and demand. How do you rebalance that? So let me ask you, what are the most important steps you think policymakers, either on a state, local, county, whatever level, need to take to rebalance that supply and demand, to get the supply to where it meets the demand?
Sure. So, right now, like you said, there's a mayoral race going on. There's also a governor race going on. There's a New Jersey Biz that I recently, New Jersey Biz article I recently read. It's titled Mikey Sherrill Pledges Faster Business Permits and Less Red Tape,
Right.
where she mentions three pillars: changing culture in Trenton to consumer service focused agencies, making it easier to start a business by reducing delays and fees, create fast track team in governor's office to cut through red tape and bottlenecks. So I would add a fourth pillar to that. And that fourth pillar would be to just make it easier to build homes that people can afford, right?
Okay.
And the conversation needs to be about supply and demand, right? There's a
Right.
lot of things we can do in government where we can make the process of developing and owning real estate a lot easier for developers and property owners. So it incentivizes them to just build more, right? And we're not talking about building a certain type of housing, right? I'm talking about building all types of housing,
Right.
because the reality is that if you're not building, whether it's luxury housing, middle class housing, or low income housing, people who are not able to find luxury housing, for example, on the waterfront,
Hmm.
will find a way to move somewhere in and around Jersey City and take up the affordable housing stock. So
Right.
housing is housing. You need to make it affordable
Hmm.
by reducing the regulations as much as possible.
Okay, so by regulations, I mean, we've heard all the litany of how difficult it is to get permits, how long it takes, the stringent environmental regulations. Are those the kinds of things you're talking about?
Right. And just to give you some examples, zoning and planning, for example, like right now, I'm about to break ground on a 70 unit project, right?
Hmm.
And it took us 5 years to get to breaking ground on a 70 unit project. It shouldn't take that long to break ground in a city like Jersey City, right? When I came here back in 1998, it was a lot faster, right? We were breaking ground within a year. So that process has gotten very lengthy, right? That's just one example.
Okay.
Other examples could include like the state passed a regulation where state inspectors can come in and supplement Jersey City inspectors if they're understaffed
Right.
and there's not enough inspectors.
Hmm.
If they don't show up within 72 hours, developers can hire their own inspectors and get through the inspection process, right?
Right.
Developers are afraid to use them because the building department has expressed that they don't want private inspectors to
Oh,
be
okay.
getting into that process, right? There's DEP regulations that could be less burdensome. Things like that. There's many things that we can do to just make the process a lot easier and more streamlined.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the two big elections, the Jersey City mayoral race and the gubernatorial race. Have you heard anything from any of the candidates? You mentioned Mikey Sherrill, Jack Ciattarelli, former Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli is her opponent, and there's a field for vying for the Jersey City mayorship. Have you heard anything from any of the candidates that leads you to believe that they are A, taking this seriously, and that B, there's likely to be change in the next administrations of both places, of both the city
Well,
and
yeah, I'm seeing bipartisan support
okay.
from both candidates, right? Mikey Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli. So the good news is that they're both singing the same tune,
Okay.
right? On
Mhm.
on both sides. So, I see that Jack Ciattarelli is also concerned about the housing supply and he wants to do something about it. So I do see that there's a positive flow into that world of
Okay.
creating more affordable housing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, politicians aren't the only hurdles that I think you face. New Jersey has a strong tradition of home rule. That means that folks in towns very often are wary of development. I mean, you alluded to that earlier. How do you overcome that kind of resistance, that NIMBYism, as it were, to increasing density and providing the kind of supply that's necessary to have those affordable options?
So that's a great question. At the JCAOA, as president, we advocate and represent property owners, developers, and taxpayers. And at the same time, we also think about affordable housing and how we can build more affordable housing, but do it responsibly, right? And we do that through education, right? We feel that it's important that to counter the NIMBYism, we have to go out. One thing we're doing right now is we created a JCOA tour where we are going out to communities and educating the public on what it takes to build housing in general, right? What's the process like, right? Because a lot of people don't understand what the entire process entails when it comes to real estate development. They don't know how difficult it is. They don't know the cost of construction, the interest rates, all the hurdles that we have to jump through. And the more they understand what that process is, the more they begin to sympathize on that development, right? And then we can justify the cost of housing and also at the same time justify the amount of time that it takes and also educate the public on what it means to have more supply and how it affects the demand and the cost of housing.
Right, because I mean the concern is going to be property values and what it's going to do to my house or my place, and that's it seems to me you got to worry about that as well. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely, and just at the one of the last meetings we had in Jersey City in an area called the Greenville section,
Mhm.
we took a lot of those questions from people. Why is housing gotten so expensive? And one of the questions was, why are people who were once living in a waterfront are now moving into this neighborhood? And we had to explain it was because it's become so difficult to build in Jersey City as a whole that people, no matter what income level, they will find a way to take up housing somewhere,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
they after a while they begin to understand why housing is important, and I think education has to be a central role in countering the NIMBYism in real estate development.
Okay. All right. Now, as you mentioned, you've been at this for a long time. I'm curious if you've seen any models, either policies or kinds of projects or collaborations that you think might translate well elsewhere, or work in Jersey City or anywhere, any urban area or any rural suburban area where there's a shortage of urban housing. Is there something? Can you come up? Can you think of anything that you've seen that worked really well that might translate elsewhere?
Well, if you look at states like California, for example,
Mhm.
for many years, it got very, very expensive in places like San
Yeah.
Francisco and
Hmm.
LA, right?
Hmm.
And, if you dig into it, you would read that, you think my project was bad, being 5 years in the process. Some projects there would take about 8 years to
Okay.
10 years to develop, right? And, now that it's gotten so expensive, in 2000 and from 2019 to 2024, they're starting to deregulate the permitting process, the DEP process, right? So they're headed in the right directions. We're not seeing the results yet,
Hmm.
but they're heading in the right direction, right? And you look at other places like Massachusetts, for example,
Hmm.
um, they've created laws where if neighborhoods or townships are not meeting the demand of affordable housing, the state jumps in and starts to streamline that permitting process,
Okay.
deregulating the process for them.
Right.
So
Okay.
those are two examples that I could think of right
Okay.
off the bat.
Okay, very good. Finally, before I let you go, I'm curious about what you think of where the economy is going and how that's going to affect your job, your business, and housing in general. I've talked to a lot of bankers, including a couple this week, who insist that banks are ready to lend. The interest rates are, yes, they're higher than they were. They're not, but they're not historically high, and that they're telling me that that shouldn't be an obstacle for developers. What do you think of where the economy is now and where it's going? Can the lending markets and the economy in general sustain the kind of development that you want to do and that you and your colleagues are interested in?
Well, over the decades, when it comes to the Federal Reserve, every time we see that the interest rate plateaus for a little
Hmm.
bit of time and it's peaked, for example,
Hmm.
then we notice that there's a dip in the interest rates, right? So I do see that in the next couple of months, we believe there's going to be a dip in the interest rates,
Right.
and that's going to create it's going to create an opportunity for developers to open up the capital that they need
Okay.
to stimulate the real estate development. So
Okay. Yes.
I could certainly see that coming.
Okay, yes, as you say, I mean, Chairman Powell said, I think in Jackson Hole when they were having their meeting out there, that he expected that there could be a rate cut coming in the next few months, and that would be good news as far as you're concerned.
That would be good news, and we're starting to see that in not only in development but also in the sales of existing property. Investors are starting to come out again, and there's been an increase in interest in investors wanting to purchase property because they see that those interest rates are about to drop.
Okay, well, on that optimistic note, we will leave it there. Ben LoPiccolo of Building Up and the Jersey City Apartment Owners Association. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it,
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
and thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.
Take care.